Every so often, history throws us a true curveball, a discovery that forces everyone to rethink what people once believed possible. The Antikythera mechanism is one such find. This 2,000-year-old device recovered from a shipwreck rewrote our understanding of ancient technology. Often described as the world's first analog computer, the Antikythera mechanism is an astonishingly complex clockwork machine built in an age when most people still measured time with a sundial. For decades, its purpose remained a mystery. But as scientists finally cracked the code, they revealed a level of technical and scientific sophistication that simply shouldn't have existed in the ancient world.
The first shock, because anything from ancient Greece simply shouldn't have gear wheels.
So today, let's dive into the world's oldest computer, explore its mysterious origins, and see why it still fascinates us. It all began in the spring of 1900, when a group of Greek sponge divers from the island of Symi, forced by a violent storm to seek shelter, anchored near Antikythera, a small rocky island between Crete and mainland Greece. To pass the time, they decided to look for sponges on the seafloor. That was when the first diver, Elias Stadiatis, stumbled across what he initially thought was a heap of dead, naked bodies. It turned out to be one of the most remarkable archaeological sites ever discovered. A Roman-era shipwreck, 45 meters beneath the surface, filled with marble statues, amphorae, coins, and all manner of precious cargo intended for a wealthy Roman patron. Over the next year, the divers, along with Greek Education Ministry and the Royal Hellenic Navy, brought up a treasure trove that included bronze statues, one named the Philosopher, the youth of Antikythera, Ephebi, of circa 340 BC, and 36 marble sculptures including Hercules, Odysseus, Diomedes, Hermes, Apollo, 3 marble statues of horses, a bronze lyre, and numerous pieces of glasswork. Yet amid these showstoppers, one corroded lump, about the size of a shoebox, was almost overlooked. When the cargo eventually reached the National Archaeological Museum in Athens, the lump sat quietly on a shelf as curators puzzled over more obviously important objects. It wasn't until May 17, 1902, that archaeologist Valerios Stais, cleaning the encrusted bronze, spotted something peculiar. Buried inside was a gear wheel and legible inscriptions in Greek. Instantly, this find set off a wave of debate and disbelief. For years, scholars struggled to agree on just what the mechanism was. Was it an astrolabe, a device for measuring the positions of stars? Or maybe a fancy clock? Some even claimed it was a modern forgery that had gotten mixed up with the wreck's cargo by accident. But as more experts inspected the lump and noticed embedded Greek letters and elaborate gearwork, a consensus began to emerge. This was no forgery. It was a machine of such sophistication that for decades it was considered before its time. Now, the first proper study was launched by the German philologist Albert Rehm, who suggested it was some kind of astronomical calculator. Still, interest soon lapsed and wouldn't be revived until the 1950s, when British science historian Derek J. de Solla Price began to study the device in earnest. Price teamed up with Greek radiologist Charalambos Karakalos to produce the first X-ray scans. To their astonishment, they found 30 distinct gears, 27 in the largest fragment, and 1 each in 3 others. This imaging let Price count individual gear teeth, which was crucial for figuring out how the mechanism worked and what cycles it tracked. Price's work, published in a groundbreaking paper entitled Gears from the Greeks, marked the turning point in Antikythera research. He concluded the device was an analog astronomical computer, at least 2,000 years old, capable of tracking the cycles of the sun, moon, and possibly the classical planets. Today, the Antikythera mechanism exists in 82 separate fragments, all heavily corroded after centuries beneath the sea. 4 of these fragments contain the main gears, while the rest preserve smaller gear parts or the inscriptions on its casing. Originally, the entire machine was encased in a wooden box, roughly 34 centimeters by 18 centimeters by 9 centimeters, just a bit larger than a modern thick textbook. The front and back doors of this box were covered in Greek inscriptions, some of which turned out to be a user manual. When viewed from the outside in its prime, the Antikythera mechanism would have looked a bit like a brass and wood desk clock, with a few reinforcing pillars and dozens of tiny pointers sweeping over dials. Its largest visible gear was about 13 centimeters across, filled with 223 delicate teeth. The mechanism is made almost entirely of finely crafted bronze, and some gears have an average pitch of 1.6 millimeters, a precision that still impresses modern engineers. Within its box, the mechanism included at least 2 large display faces, front and back, each encircled by graduated wheels and packed with moving pointers. When the user turned the, now lost, hand crank, the system of gears and axles spun a set of interlinked indicators, each showing complex, astronomical information. The heart of the Antikythera mechanism is its intricate gearing. About 30 gears were arranged in several stacked planes, some meshing side by side, others mounted epicyclically, the technical term for gears that revolve around other gears on moving arms. This design allowed the mechanism to model a variety of astronomical cycles at once, some requiring non-integer gear ratios to accurately match real celestial cycles. Moreover, the gear teeth were cut by hand. Remarkably, most of them are tiny equilateral triangles. Despite the lack of modern machine tools, the gears mesh smoothly enough to perform calculations and transmit movement reliably over centuries. Even more impressively, the mechanism used several advanced mechanical concepts, usually assumed to be medieval or later inventions like differential gearing, to combine inputs, as seen in modern car axles, pin and slot epicyclic gears, to create non-uniform motion, and gear trains with precision ratios based on astronomical data. Today, the 82 fragments of the Antikythera mechanism rest in the National Archaeological Museum in Athens, where visitors can see both the ancient remains and working reconstructions. The device has inspired countless modern replicas. Some, like Derek de Sola Price's models, stick closely to the preserved remains. Others, including Michael Wright's 2002 version and the detailed 2021 UCL team's build, reconstruct the lost planetary dials and moving pointers using both the mechanical evidence and clues in the inscriptions. The mechanism has also inspired hobbyists and educators worldwide. There's a Lego model by Andy Carroll, YouTube videos showing metalworkers recreating the device with ancient tools, and traveling exhibitions at major science and history museums from Paris to New York. Even a limited edition wristwatch modeled on the Antikythera design has been produced. So what makes the Antikythera mechanism so astonishing is how badly it clashes with the commonly held view of technological development. Before its discovery, scholars firmly believed that the engineering complexity needed for geared astronomical computers hadn't been developed until the Middle Ages. The Antikythera mechanism's intricate gear trains, compact size, user interface, and reliable function all rattle this timeline. Yet nothing about the device is magic. Every calculation and construction can be explained by Greek science and craftsmanship of the era. The real mystery is, why did this knowledge not spread and replicate more widely? Was this a one-off marvel? Were there other mechanisms lost to time? Given the precious value of bronze, most similar devices may well have been melted down long ago, leaving this one found in a sunken ship as a rare survivor. However, the Antikythera mechanism fundamentally reshaped our understanding of ancient science and technology. It proved that, at least for a while, there were ancient engineers and astronomers whose mechanical creations could rival anything made until the Renaissance. Today, the Antikythera mechanism continues to inspire scientists and dreamers, and raises a tantalizing question: what other marvels might still lie hidden, waiting beneath layers of earth or sea? The device's journey from an overlooked chunk of brass to a global icon is proof that sometimes the greatest historical surprises come from the least expected places. So, what are your thoughts about this 2,000-year-old computer? Share with us in the comments section below. Also, if you liked this video, share it with your friends and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content.